day.
Hey, this is Willie. Welcome to the 4th of July picnic. I hope you all enjoy it.
Hi, I'm Mickey Raphael. I play harmonica with Willie Nelson, and I've been playing with him since 1973. So after the gig, we went to a truck stop, which is what you do at 2 in the morning, and had breakfast. And I was getting ready to leave, and I thought, I'll just have one more cup of coffee. And in that last cup of coffee, Willie says, "Hey, we're going to New York in a couple of weeks. Why don't you go with us?" So, I tell people I was never officially hired, but then I was never asked to leave either.
My name is Larry Gorham, and I do security and other odd things for Willie Nelson and family. Passes and ticketing for the guests and coordinating all that backstage stuff. That's what I do.
My name's Freddie Fletcher. I'm part of the Nelson clan. Willie's my uncle. Bobby's his sister is my mom. So I kind of grew up in music. I toured for a long time playing drums, and then I built a studio, and then we built a theater in Austin. So been doing this quite a while. Also, when the IRS closed this down from Willie, he came and asked me to open this studio too. So I ran it for 10 or so years, going in these doors every day.
I guess the first I ever heard about a picnic, I was at Willie's house in Billy's room, and he asked me if I wanted to do the picnic. This was 73, and I was not yet 19. Probably the biggest star in the world at that time was Leon Russell. We asked Leon to come to the picnic, and of course he's agreeing, and his management's going, "No way." And so they say, if you don't announce it, then he'll come. Gino was one of the first people also involved. Of course, as soon as he gets wind of that, of course, he's got it all over the radio that Leon Russell's coming, so that was huge for us. Me, I was a kid who they didn't really pay much attention to, so I got a loan for my car for $5,000 and used that money to buy tickets, print tickets, and we printed tickets, gave Jim Franklin a couple $100 for the first poster, and then I went out and bribed the mayor of Dripping Springs with $500 and the sheriff for $500 and rented the land out there for $2,500. So through the promoting, all we had for money really was tickets.
Well, my name is Ray Wiley Hubbard, and I am from Wimberley, Texas, and I write some songs every now and then. I think I've played all the picnics except for probably 3 or 4. Willie was being, there was the club with Gino McCausland up in Dallas. There was a club up there called Faces and 57 Doors that after Willie, I think, was fired from the Western place for having long hair. And Gino, this may be completely wrong, was the booker at the Western place, left with Willie, and they opened up a club, 57 Doors or Faces, I can't remember which, and Willie would play there, and I was kind of the house band. I'd play there every night of the week, open for whoever was performing there. So I got to meet Willie up there, and we just kind of hit it off. And he said, I'm going to have another picnic, so come on down and play it. So I just kind of ended up playing them.
Well, the first Dripping Springs reunion, and it's the first picnic I went to, and I think it was the first official Willie picnic. I just remember driving in. There was one road in, and it took us about 5 hours to actually get to the stage area, which was roughly a flatbed truck. I'm not sure if it had a roof on it at the time.
The first picnic, actually the first time I'd been to Texas, was 1979 picnic there on the golf course itself. I was just amazed of all the talent.
Well, the first one was in Dripping Springs, and it was a shit show. I mean, it was production. It was like on a flatbed trailer, but it was a great lineup. Billy Joe Shaver wandered out in the woods and took acid. Nobody saw him for a week or so. But the funny thing about that picnic was the money disappeared mysteriously. So it was what a good beginning.
Well, I wasn't there for the first Dripping Springs reunions, but I know Willie didn't put that one on. But after the first one in 1972, I think he figured, well, hell, I can do this. So and let's make it an annual affair, which right now are the scariest words I've ever heard. Well, at that time, they didn't have these great massive stages like we do now that are portable. They would build, you'd have guys just come out, carpenters that would build a stage and try to not be too permanent. But a lot of times they didn't have a roof. Several of the early ones didn't have roofs on them. And as time went on, we got better stages, and then we've got these big portable steel stages. But for a long time, it was just pretty makeshift, and in a field, and maybe one road in and one road out. So the traffic, it was hours to get into these places. Or we'd come in the night before. That was usually protocol, is that we would come in the night before and just sleep on the bus or sleep where you could camp out.
Well, Lukenbach was really a cool one when Willie had his picnic there and Waylon was playing there, and that was really a cool thing. And, like I say, Willie has such a great smile, and so, I think it was at Lukenbach, Pootie Locke, who was Willie's stage manager, road manager, came up and he said, "Howard, you need to get Willie to come out and sing Redneck Mother with you." And I said, man, he didn't want to do that. It was just kind of a goofy. So I said, nah, go ask him. Come on, let's go ask him. So we went down to Willie's bus, and so Pootie said, come on, ask him. So I said, Willie, will you come out and sing Redneck Mother with me? He said, yeah, sure. So he said, Pootie, so what's the song you're going to do before Redneck Mother? Pootie, come and get me before that, so I'll be ready. So we get up there and do our set, and all of a sudden we're getting ready to do Redneck Mother, and it's that song, and I see Pootie leave to go get Willie, and Willie comes up, and I start Redneck Mother. And so then Willie walks out, and the crowd just goes nuts and everything, and Willie picks up his guitar and, puts it on, and I walk over to Willie, and I go, Willie, never mind, I think we can handle it. And luckily he laughed. He had that, he kind of, and then laughed. And so it was, but each picnic, there was something, like I say, there was just, they were fun. They were really just a lot of fun.
Goodbye. Nice meeting you.
They had to get Willie to the golf course by boat over the Purnell's River, and then by car from the boat dock to the golf course. After the concert, a lot of us, myself included, went back to town via helicopter. It was a real experience for me that day, because that's one picnic that I always will remember.
Something funny that happened at the picnic. I don't know if it was so funny, but I remember the one that was at the Pedernales, Willie's golf course on one of the greens. We'd helicopter into the place because the roads were so bad and backed up. So we'd helicopter in, however many of us were on, 5 or 6 and one helicopter. And I remember after we played, it was like, okay, get back to the helicopter as quick as you can. And we would rush back. And I'm sure there were more people trying to get on it. I mean, it looked like the U.S. troops exiting Hanoi. Other than people hanging off the struts, that was exciting getting on that helicopter to get back out of there. Well, I think it might have been the third or the fourth picnic. that was in College Station, and that's the one where you've seen the picture of Robert Earl Keen's car on fire. And that was a crazy time. I don't think they'd really honed their skills of putting on picnics yet. It was just, they found there was a racetrack, and they built a stage. And Leon Russell was there, and Wolfman Jack, because I think they broadcast some of Midnight Special on that show, and Doug Kershaw, and it was Nitty Gritty Dirt Band place, and it was just a free for all on stage. It was crazy. Music was great, and everybody would come up and play with each other. But that was kind of an iconic time.
Hello, I'm Robert Earl Keen, and I'm here to tell you about the first time I went to Willie's Picnic was it was the summer of 1974, the year that I graduated from high school, as people say, and it was a deal where a girl that I'd been seeing somewhere, just pals and all, but she suggested that we go out to the picnic out at Texas World Speedway there just south of Bryan College Station. And I think basically maybe I was the date because I was the guy with the car. So we drove out there. We drove out there early. We were there before almost anybody. There was a big conduit sort of thing, like a big tunnel where you had to walk through underneath the part of the speedway and get out into the middle of the area that the speedway surrounded, and set up a little tent. And I think the music started pretty early. Like I said, we got there early. There were just a handful of people setting up their tents or sitting on their ice chests, and so and then the music started, and we were listening to the music, and it went all day. And then I guess the infamous story is at one point I sort of fell asleep. Let's just call it euphemistically, I fell asleep. And when I woke up, they were calling out license plate numbers of cars. They said, quite clearly, I recall, they said, there's been a minor fire in the parking lot, and we have a few license plates of the cars that caught on fire. And the first winner is RHP 997. And I mean, in my fog, I kind of came to life and went, that's my car, man. And everyone around me started clapping. And I thought, oh, cool, I'm a celebrity already. And then I realized there's a huge plume of smoke on the backside of the hill there. And, I came really conscious of the fact that my car really was either on fire or had been on fire. So I jumped up, ran outside, and there it was. It was totally burned down to the wheels. It was like it had, the tires were just no longer tires. They're just like this massive rings of rubber around some steel that looked like they might used to be a wheel. And the entire car was just completely black. And I was stunned and couldn't really access the whole feeling about it. I was sad and scared and couldn't believe it. And the girl that I was with had a pretty weird sense of humor, and she came running up and started laughing. I said, "Why are you laughing?" She says, "Your car burned up. That's just so funny." And I said, "No, it's not funny because we don't have a ride home." And she said, "No, I have a ride home." And she walked off with two really tan guys wearing loincloths, and that was the end of that date. However, someone from the festival did say, we really feel bad for you. I think the least we could do is have you come meet Willie. So they took me backstage, and my first festival, my first backstage experience, my first time to meet Willie Nelson. And I got to shake Willie's hand, and he said he's sorry he heard about my car. Sorry that my car burned up, and thanks for being here. And he had to go jam with Leon Russell. The first time that I ever played at one of Willie Nelson's picnics was one of the ones that they held at Lukenbach. And I think Tim O'Connor was producing that one. And they asked me to come play, and I had my band with me. And at the time, that was kind of in the thick of me being very popular. And I don't know how this happened because I never was in a fraternity, but I became very, very popular with the fraternities around at the different universities in Texas. And I think they gave us 15 minutes to play. I think Tim gave us 15 minutes to play. And we went out there and played, I don't know, 2 songs. And then we played The Road Goes On Forever. And then they just started hollering my name over and over, Robert Earl Keen, Robert Earl Keen. And I went to the mic and I said, I'd love to play longer, but this is the amount of time allotted to us. Thank you so much. And they kept saying, Robert Earl Keen, Robert Earl Keen. And of course, the next act after us was Buddy Miller and Emmylou Harris, and they continued to yell my name during, at least half of the first part of her first song. And after that, I think I've apologized to Emmylou every time I've ever seen her, which is many, many times since. But I always felt bad about it because it was disruptive at the same time. It's one of those things that, you're pretty happy that, people actually were happy to see you play on a festival because, as these festivals have a lot of acts on them. And that was exciting to have that much support from the fans.
You mean you think I'm not Zorro?
Yeah, well, Gene McCausland was my favorite promoter. He was the one that would do shows with us at the Sportatorium in Dallas, which was the boxing ring. And he sold so many tickets when we played one time. He even there was a sign over one of the exits that said men's, like the bathroom, and people would leave and then they couldn't come back in without a ticket.
I can't remember exactly which one it was, either the second or third, might have been College Station. But a guy named Gino McCausland was kind of running the thing. And so we pull up, we're supposed to go to this hotel and get our passes to go out there. So we pull into the desk and we say, we're supposed to meet Gino here. And the guy goes, he's down in room 14. So we walk down to 14. So we open the door and there's Gino in there and he's on the phone and he's got this record player. He's got Waylon Jennings playing on the record player, and Gino's on the phone, goes, hang on. He says, yeah, I'm out here at the site right now, and Waylon Jennings is on stage. And I think, now I don't know if Dylan and McCartney are going to join him or not, but there's still plenty of tickets. And so he was calling different little radio stations and going, this is Gino, I'm out the site, Waylon's on the stage right now, and I don't know if John Lennon will be sitting in with, so that was how they were kind of run back then.
So Gino was quite a character. He had a place where he promoted in Dallas called the Sportatorium, and it was really a wrestling arena. And he would put the bathroom signs by the back exit so when people leave, they couldn't come back in, and he could just keep running people through there. So Gino was a character.
But the Gonzales Festival, we never got to play. And I think that might have been one that the police shut down too. I'm not sure. But either the police shut down or Gino McCausland, the promoter, got robbed that day. I can't remember exactly what the excuse was for the show. At the beginning, it was just a few, Willie's buddies, Willie's close friends that would be the promoters. And that's the way Willie was. It was like, oh, you want to play harmonica? You say you play harmonica? Well, come on, It's like he didn't know. He gave me a chance. I wasn't an accomplished. I was barely. I'd only been playing for a few years.
Yeah, it was. You wanted to be a part of it. It was. Each one was like a magical thing that wasn't happening anywhere else in the world. I mean, there were other, concerts and festivals and stuff, but you would show up there early. When they were just setting up the stage and just hanging out, and then Willie's crew was just top notch. You know, Bud Rock and Pootie and Michael Jean, those cats, they were just, they'd take care of you. And it was, and so, yeah, you'd get down there and all of a sudden you'd stay and as long as you could, because you didn't want to, it was such a incredible world that you didn't want to leave that Willie world and go back to the rest of it.
So one year when it was at the racetrack in Maynard Downs, we'd stayed up all that night before in a club, and I usually put the band together or help put the band together. And Rick James was the bass player, and Doc McGee, who managed a bunch of bands at the time, brought a new singer out by the name of John Bon Jovi. So we put a band together for him, and it was some of the guys from Motley Crue, Vince Neil, and I had just finished playing on their record, Smoking in the Boys' Room, so I knew those guys. But we'd put this band together with Vince Neil singing and John Bon Jovi and Joe Walsh playing guitar. So by the time we got to the picnic, 7, 8 in the morning, we'd been up all night playing, and we were already running on fumes. But that was a pretty memorable show.
Love, joy, and peace. Happy 4th of July, Willie and Annie. We love you so, so much. God bless you. And if we're going to make it, we got to have love, joy, peace, and happiness.
All right, folks, I hope you all enjoyed our picnic, and maybe next year we can go back to Dripping Springs or somewhere like that. But in the meantime, stay safe.